The world's population now stands at over 8 billion. Why? How? And what does this even mean? The world's population has been steadily growing for the entire time we've been measuring it. But the rate of that change has also been changing. In 1969, we were celebrating the Summer of Love. Abbey Road had just been released, and we were marking the first time a human had set foot on a celestial body other than our home planet. While at the same time, that very planet that floated below the Apollo 11 astronauts was hitting its peak population growth in our time measuring such things. 2.09%. Since then, the population has still grown, but the rate of growth has declined all the way down to today's 0.9%. That still means that in 1969 we had 3.6 billion people, and in the decades since that, that has more than doubled to today's total of over 8 billion. Why is that? What is causing such growth in the world's population, and why is it slowing down? Well, the causes of it are pretty simple. People are having more children than the number of people who are dying. Let's start at the place that makes most sense. The end. Why are people living longer? Well, as medical science advances, we can more effectively treat diseases and illnesses that would have caused people in the past a lot of problems. Rabies, HIV, diphtheria, typhoid, and the big one, malaria, have all seen massive strides in our ability to combat them since that day in 1969. Back then, the global death rate was 296 people per 1,000 people. Today, that's about 172 per 1,000 people. That's a huge impact of the increasing quality of healthcare. It's thought that around half of all human beings who have ever died did so because of malaria. So tackling this specific disease is going to have a major impact on the world's overall health, and in turn, the population. But what about the other end of the timeline? Birth rates. As more and more countries start gaining access to this kind of healthcare, so do more and more people survive, and birth rates in developing countries tend to be a lot higher, leading to incredible growth rates. For example, the birth rate in Somalia is 41 births per 1,000 people, compared to South Korea, where it's 5 per 1,000 people. Quite the difference. Birth rates don't change as quickly as death rates. So many countries in their developmental journey find themselves with exploding populations. Look at China and India, both racing each other for the most populous country and finding themselves with citizens of over 1 billion in the process. These birth rates remain high for a number of reasons. Lack of contraception, or access to family planning of any kind, leaves women having large families by design. Contraception costs money, as does the education needed to teach people how to use it. Money which many developing countries simply do not have. Women's rights in some of these countries also tend to be quite a bit more restrictive than in developed countries, and so the gender roles would also develop into high birth rates. Then there's the idea that some nations don't have the capital to fund pension schemes and social security. So the job of taking care of elderly family members falls to those in the family who are younger, their children. The more children you have, the more people there are to look after you when you're older. Subsistence farmers in rural India need large families to work their fields, or they will starve. India is just one example of this. Families trying to scrape by in the Brazilian favelas bring more in if the family is larger and there are more people working. Women in malaria-stricken regions of the world stand more of a chance of having children live into adulthood if they have more of them. These are the harsh realities that are faced every day by the majority of the world, and we in the developed world take for granted the comfort of not having to think about these issues. The main point is that birth rates are high, and it's mostly down to lack of wealth, both privately and via state support for people in developing countries. As countries develop, the birth rates will tend to drop. So that's what we can expect as more countries gain access to healthcare and sanitation and other things me, myself, and the Western world enjoys without thinking about it. It's for that reason, specifically, that the population will level out and steady for a while, and the projections even have populations eventually falling. Some countries are already experiencing that. Japan, for example. When that will happen is difficult to say, as you're talking about counting every single person on the planet. But this rapid growth won't sustain. Still, 8 billion people is a lot. Even just a little slice of that, like, sharing and subscribing, would be nice. Thanks for watching.